So just a quick intro. My name's Josh. I've run a creative agency. Let me actually just get my timer on. I've run a creative agency for the last 10 years. And I've gone through the process of being a freelancer, of hiring my first guy, building up a team, creating an agency. So for anyone starting to look up their own, starting to start their own online business, understand kind of the flow, the process of starting your own thing. So I'm with you all the way with that. I'm going to just start sharing my screen and jump into the presentation. And then we can get going. All right. All right, that should be good. Let's get it loading up. All right, great. Okay, let's begin. So just one thing to note, a little knowledge is always a bit of a dangerous thing. I'm going to be talking about what to use, who to use, what to use, and why to use it in terms of building your own online business or platform or profile. But do your research, take it further. It's vital that you don't just base your decisions on this little presentation. All right, so to go, there are many ways to go online. This is a huge thing. I'm going to give you a brief overview of some of the best options of your business and the various ways to go about it. And I'm going to be referring to online as a website, but this is going to include everything to advanced web applications, advanced mobile app that you'll download. It all comes together. So whenever I talk about websites, there are four main elements that you need to take into account. It's building your website, it's updating the content, general maintenance of the site, and hosting. Right now, some of these things people will do for you, some you'll have to do yourself depending on your platform. But it is vital that you remember these three things. So who will build your website? It's either going to be an agency, a freelancer, or you're going to do it yourself. What platform will you use? There are tons of platforms. There's WordPress, there's Shopify, there's Wix, there's Magento, there's Pressicard. There are a ton. And we're going to go through a few of those and just explain it to you. So before we go into those, let's just understand what goes into building a website and how it's built. And this, even if you've got a company already and it's online, it always helps to just get a basic understanding. If you're just going online and you're unsure of all these things, this is a great way to just understand it. And so if you're talking to an agency or freelancer, you will totally understand what they're talking about. So let's say your website is your house, right? Your house is located in a specific location. It's in a country, in a city, in a neighborhood, in a street. And this is the exact same thing as your website. Where's your website going to be hosted? Is it on a server in South Africa? Is it on a server in America? This is vital. Now, the only difference here is that your house, technically, you can't move it. Your website, if you're not happy with your host, you can always move it. And that's an important thing to remember. Material, what do you build your house out of? Is it bricks, concrete, steel, wood? That is ultimately the platform you choose to build. Are you going to build it on WordPress? Are you going to build it on Wix? Are you going to build it on Shopify? Are you going to do custom? That's a vital thing because that you cannot always change. The aesthetics, you will need to work on the design of your house. So it's not an empty shell, right? The paint, the flooring, the furniture. This is the design of your site. What the user feels when they visit your website, and that's very key. The maintenance. Now, irrelevant of how your house looks, you need to do certain maintenance on it. You need to fix the roof if it leaks. You need to do electrical and plumbing issues. The basic wear and tear of a house is the exact same maintenance that you're going to be doing on your website. And it's the website and it's the server where you're going to host it. So that's important to remember, that you could maybe upload, stuff on your website once off. It doesn't mean there's not a maintenance issue that needs to go with that. Very important. And lastly is offering. What you're going to offer your guests when they arrive at your house. And if you convert that to a website, this is the content. Is it fresh content? Is it helpful? Is it enjoyable? Is there a live chat when someone gets there at home? Is there someone to welcome the person? What are you offering your visitors? So these are just kind of the key elements that you need to think of. And just remember that when you decide to build your website, some things you can change and others you can't. So unless you want to bash it down and start all over, if you're going to build it on Shopify, you can't just migrate that very quickly into WordPress or into a custom. That platform is the key. You can do renovations. You can add on another room in a different in steel instead of brick, but your core house, your core website, that can't change. You can change it, but it's a rebuild in most cases. And just remember, you don't have to build a mansion that was designed by the top architect in the world. That's not necessary. You build what you think you need. It's a minimal viable product ultimately, and you scale up as you or your users require it. I'm just getting a quick chat notification. Sorry. Okay, great. Good. Okay, I want to keep that open on the next one. Back to this. Okay, so who to use. This is a big one. The types of suppliers are going to be an agency, a freelancer, or DIY. Now, if you're going with option 1 or 2, look to them as your partner. Not that you can call them up at 4 in the morning and like speak to them for 2 hours, but they're there to help you grow your business, right? They should understand your brand, they should understand your online requirements, your long-term goals, and you should, ultimately they should help you to achieve them. That's a key. It's a partner. You're paying them a lot of money. That is their purpose. In general, when you speak to 1 or 2 of the above, if you're not doing it yourself, make sure you have a sit-down meeting with the agency, online or in person. But the idea of it, don't just ask them to quote on the website. It is a terrible, terrible thing. Be specific. You want an online shop, you want online chat, you want these specific pages and functionality. You always want to provide references to your agency or freelancer so that they can really understand where you're coming from. And that's just a vital, vital thing. It puts everyone on the same page. And it's going to avoid scope creep. Scope creep is an absolute pain for everyone involved. You need to make sure you're 100% clear with what you want to get, and an agency or freelancer have to be very clear with what they're giving you. You want to make sure you're getting what you're paying for. That's vital. So that scope creep, it makes the whole relationship edgy. Be as clear as you can initially. That's a key thing. Let's talk about an agency quickly. If they're trustworthy, they should offer you a lot of guidance in terms of various options and solutions out there that will work for you. If they're not trustworthy, it's hard to find that out. Always get referrals, but it can go south very quickly. The pros of an agency is they'll have an in-house team. Generally, they'll have account managers and project managers and designers and web developers, marketing managers. That is huge. And they're most likely all working on your project together, making sure every single box is being ticked. That's a massive thing. They'll make sure that your SSL certificates are right and these setups are right and it's being optimized correctly. There are a whole bunch of things that are massive. They can also assign multiple team members to your project. So if your designer or developer on a project gets sick, right, they can very easily, if they've got the right tools, which they should have in place, assign that to another team member to carry on the work. So if there's a deadline for you, massive pro to have an agency working on it. And they have a huge collective experience, as I said, and multiple experts looking at your project cannot be taken for granted in any case. I've built my own things from the ground up when I first started. I've had guys looking at, I learned a ton from working under art directors and creative directors and developers. Having those eyes on your project is a massive win. And the owner of the agency, and I can tell you as I run my own, is most likely going to be pushing staff to always take courses, increase their knowledge and skill set. It's because they're paying them salaries and they've got overheads, they need to make sure that they're providing a very high level service. That is a huge thing to have someone pushing their team all the time. And if your agency is doing all the work, right, they're doing the design, they might not always, but if they are, the design, the development, the hosting, the maintenance, if something goes wrong, it's all under one roof. There's no blame games. You call the account manager, boom, you're done. They'll deal with it internally. There's no blame games of he said, she said, I said. So it's kind of less stressful for the client if it's an agency. The cons, and this is really, in my opinion, and as I said, I've done this for a while, is the biggest con is that it's just the most expensive route to go. I guarantee I'll most likely be more expensive than a freelancer or DIY for sure, because we have more overheads. We're trying to find the best guys for our team, for the business, and to provide the best possible products. And freelancers will also do that. They're very talented. I started off as one. I learned a lot, and you get some really powerful guys who we even outsource some work to and deal with them at times. So their overheads are going to be much more. Just to note, for web development, often agencies have a preferred platform to work with, and they might try to push you to go with a certain platform. So this is not always a bad thing. As more experienced agencies with a specific platform, the quicker and easier things are to build out, which may make the project cheaper for you and just more efficient and effective. But they need to be honest enough to know if the platform is not the right choice for you. They need to be open and honest and either provide a separate platform or refer you to another freelancer or agency who does focus on that. If you're going to be not building an online shop, don't use Shopify at all. That would be silly because that's built for e-commerce. The freelancer route is middle ground, obviously. They're a one-man show who are either doing aspects of the work for you, the design, and then outsourcing the development, for example, or they're using a platform they know very well and will suggest that they might be using WordPress or something called Elementor that allows them to build the front and the back end for you to a degree. They might suggest that. So it's just important to know who you're speaking to and that they might have a specific or preferred platform that they use. Freelancer pros is that they're going to be much cheaper, 100%. Overheads are much lower. They can work from home. They don't necessarily have an office to rent or employees to worry about. Massive. There's no insurance. There's a whole bunch of stuff that reduces their costs, and they can pass it on to you. And you're engaging with one person, and often clients like to deal directly with the person who's doing their work. So if you like that type of approach, a freelancer could definitely be that person for you. The cons, the capacity is quite limited. So if you require them to work on a project in the future, it may be they're too busy to do the additional work. Especially if it's urgent, you might deal with it now in month 1, it gets pulled to month 2, 3 months down the line, you want to create this additional functionality, and they just at capacity, they might not be able to do that. And if it's urgent, it's a problem. If they get sick and they don't return your calls, there's nothing you can really do. There's no officers to call or account managers to complain to or CEOs to talk to. That's a big thing. And they generally are experts in one area. High-end website requires user experience, as the guys on previous calls mentioned, design, UI design, development, SEO. And generally a freelancer is very good at one thing. Myself, I'm very good at user experience and understanding user flows. My developers, I'll never be as good as my developers. That is what they do. And my designers now, that is what they do. So important to just realize that. And this is also where the blame game might come. If you decide to go with a freelancer for design, another one for development, another guy for hosting, if something goes wrong, very quickly, the developer can say it's the hosting can say it's the registrar of the domain guys can push it to someone else, the designer said we didn't do that, and then who's going to fix it? So just something to think about. Then you've got to do it yourself. I want to try to speed up a bit. If you have no budget at all and you're willing to learn new software, and are happy if things are not 100%, this is a great MVP. It's a minimum viable product. It gets something up that will function. And as your revenue grows, you can evolve and your site can evolve. And that's a very great option. You'll be able to, I can guarantee it, get a site online that will be able to make a sale by yourself. Will conversion rates be, 20, 30, 50%? No, but you'll be able to sell. DIY's pros is that it's potentially the most cost-effective route, but that also depends on how much you value your time and really what your skill set is. If you do have time to educate yourself, now with coronavirus, it could be actually the perfect time. Everyone is at home. And if you have the time and you want to upskill yourself, you will learn a ton. The most I learned about web development and design was trial and error, doing it myself, building my own first site using Wix actually in 2010 or 2009. So you will learn a ton, and then you'll gradually grow and grow and grow, and you'll start learning HTML and CSS. So you'll start learning these things. And if you follow the steps and speak to the relevant support, you'll get something live and functioning that will do the job. And then I said, it may not optimize, but you'll be able to reach your goal. The cons, if you have no experience, it can actually, in design and development, it can become one of the most frustrating things to do. And if you're going to come up against that resistance, which you definitely will, I can guarantee you, it can be very demotivating. If you're able to keep that picture in your mind, that this is what I want, and I'm doing it because I want to bring in income for my family, and this is the reason, and it's, that you can push through that very, very easily. Just keep that in mind, and you can push through that, but you will get those elements that will be demotivating. In time, this money, eventually there's a crossover that at some point, you're going to say, okay, like I've spent 2, 3, 4 months trying to do this. I need to just get a professional to help me. So that is, money in the bank eventually. And just to note, this is purely my opinion. It's a question of budget. If you have a little bit of budget, I'd say go the DIY route and just get consulting. Speak to a professional, an expert in this, and they will help you. Just a quick example how this can work. And this is legitimate 100% because it's happening right now. A 17-year-old Israeli with an online golf shop, right? He started the shop 5 weeks ago in Israel, 17 years old. He used Shopify using drop shipping for AliExpress, selling one item. He got the site up in 1 week and he's generating a profit of 5,000 shekels, which is about 20,000 Rand profit, right? And how do I know that's legit? It's my brother-in-law. He barely asked me any questions about it. And he keeps showing me the ad. He runs daily ads on Instagram. He's just trying things out. And he's making a huge amount of profit. Now, that doesn't mean that, you'll do it, will happen as well. But you can do this. You can do this and you can start generating money. And it's online. Online, he's selling to America. He lives in Israel. It's drop shipping. That's a whole different discussion. But I'm just saying, you can do it. You can 100% do this. What to use? Biggest question, the platforms. Okay, there are many, many, many platforms. And it's vital that you choose the right one for your business because, as I said before, you're going to have to rebuild it if it's wrong, and that is going to be a huge waste of your time and money. So you'll get Shopify and WordPress and Squarespace, Magento, Wix, Joomla, Weebly, Webflow, OpenCart, PrestaShop, Craft, and I can't even tell you how the list goes on. You're going to have to choose one of these. And I'm not going to talk about like a major dev of like a specific business in itself. If you're going to use like Angular or PHP or like a custom build as a product, this is just, you know, if you online, you don't need to create your custom built online shop. You can use a platform. So just remember, as I said, there's no quick fixing in migrating your site to a new platform. If you build it in Shopify and you want to move it to WordPress, you rebuild it. And if you want to do that vice versa, it's a rebuild. So that is very, very important. There's subdomains, and we can talk about that as well. You can use WordPress and then Shopify as a subdomain. It gets a bit more complex, but generally, if you want to migrate, it's a rebuild. So I'm going to talk about 3 of them. These are just a few pros and cons. Definitely educate yourself further. I'm going to talk about Shopify, WordPress, and Wix. We've done builds in all of these. We do builds in all of these. So it's coming from experience. Just quickly, Shopify in general, it's built for e-commerce. It's a commercial product, so you pay for that service on a monthly basis. It's not free. And yeah, there'll be a bit of discussion. It's more for beginners, and it's very easy to get something up as a beginner on Shopify. Very, very easy. As you scale and as you grow, the difference of opinions of, is Shopify the best thing? How much can you actually customize that whole experience with Shopify versus maybe using WooCommerce or one of the other companies? But yeah, that's just it's very easy for Shopify. It's a hosted solution, so they take care of the hosting, security, and maintenance. Like I mentioned, in your house, you sort it. Like you don't have to worry about the hosting, about updating plugins or add-ons or anything like that. You're paying for them to do that. And there are a lot of beautiful responsive themes out there. Most are paid, so you will have to pay. They're not hundreds and thousands of dollars, but you do have to pay for them. The customer support is good. There's a really good app store for extending functionality. It's easy to use, and there's a huge base of dedicated fans. The cons is there's a fee for every transaction over and above the payment gateway fee, which is important to remember because that comes out of your revenue. The apps and add-ons can end up costing quite a bit. There are less Shopify developers compared to, like, for example, WordPress developers. See, my internet's a bit unstable. For custom work, developer hours are generally higher because it's a supply and demand, really. And things generally take a bit longer to build out. And custom work in Shopify versus, for example, WordPress, they use Liquid, the Liquid language. It's their own language. It's very interesting, but that's just important to realize. WordPress, cool. WordPress in general is open source. It's free to use. There's no fee. It's built for beginners to advanced users. We've built simple blogs and very, very advanced websites and e-commerce sites with it. Files and data. It's a massive collection of plugins. It actually powers around 25% plus of the internet. And there are tons of free themes out there as well as paid. And it's extremely scalable. If you're building a blog, you can take that blog without doing too much and create an e-commerce site and then tweak your hosting in your whole environment, and it can be extremely scalable. The cons, no customer support is community-based. You'll get support from the developers or your freelance or agencies. It's a self-hosted solution. You need to host it somewhere. It's not like Shopify where they'll take care of that. But your agency or freelancer, or you do get other companies actually focus on it, making it kind of like a self-hosted solution in a sense. But if you start to learn a bit of HTML and CSS on the way, it will make things quite easy. Wix. Yeah, I got 2 minutes. Commercial product. You pay for the service like Shopify, built for beginners, quick and easy to get something up. It's unlikely you're going to use Wix for very advanced web applications. It's not meant for that really. In my opinion, for what we've done and what we've worked with, that's what we think. You're going to build it, that is what you're going to drag and put things in, and that's what your end user is going to see. If you're a designer, you'll probably love this option. The support and help center is very good. It's reasonably priced, and it's quick and easy. And they'll get like a few add-ons like built-in free stock images, so you don't have to pay. Some cons. It does not use responsive design. It uses something called absolute positioning, which makes things a bit more complicated to get it looking perfectly across screen sizes and devices. It's for e-commerce. It offers less payment options. It's entry level for e-commerce and less available add-ons. If you choose a template, you have to stick with it. You have to either rebuild it because it's drag and drop. You have to rebuild how it looks, and there's no multi-currency. So if you want to ship to America, it's not the best idea because you have to choose your one currency. And it's not international as such. Just a quick summary. I tell my clients all the time, best platform for you is determined on what you're looking to build. If you don't want to sell online, don't use Shopify. If you're going to be building the site as your main source of income, think about the DIY route. It's not the best option unless you have no budget. Rather spend money than on expert guiding you. It'll save you a lot of time and money in the end. And just I have 1 more minute. I'm going to go in a few trade secrets, right? Or rather thoughts, one might say. A good freelancer, a good agency will listen more than they talk. If they start giving you advice without asking questions or understanding your business, be wary. Built with, it's a platform software, it's online, Google it. You can actually see what platforms and add-ons people are using on their sites if you want to use it. So if there's something specific like a plugin or a calendar function, a booking function, you can see what they're doing and you can say, cool, I want to use that platform and that plugin. That's a huge thing. Often clients believe that the platform dictates how this website will look. That's not true. The platform is the engine. What you see can be changed across all platforms. I can build the exact same looking site in Shopify and in WordPress, in Wix even to a degree, or custom. If you're using open source, never just click on the button that says update now. If you're using WordPress, don't just click update plugins because it can be a disaster. You'll get these, I'll let you read through this a bit more, but do it in a staging environment and push it live. Do a reverse Google image search for stock photos. Sometimes you might be lucky and find another site that's offering the same image for free. I jumped around. Okay, just because your site doesn't look good, it doesn't mean it will function well, right? Use Pingdom or PageSpeed Insights. And check how fast that is, because that page loading time is vital in terms of converting your users and getting them to engage with it. The most valuable currency in the world is not dollars or pounds, as we might think, it's attention. You need to 1,000,000% make sure you are budgeting for solid marketing. Right? Websites do not rely on the idea of if you build it, they will come. Don't build your mansion and not have anyone visit it. Don't build your mansion, to build something normal and just spend a lot of money on marketing as well. Like vital. Your website is a tool to make money. Don't get too attached to it. Your business is there to generate revenue. Your site needs to help do that. Your brand is so much more than your logo. Sorry guys, 1 more minute. It's just 2 points. Nike, Apple, Google, their logos are not mind-blowing, right? And anyone tells you that, that's just rubbish, in my opinion. The entire brand and marketing strategy dictates what you feel when you see those logos, right? Make sure you focus on your brand and not just your logo. If I told you, I'll just draw a little check mark and tell you, well, this is going to inspire you to live healthy and exercise. If I told you that 30 years ago, 40 or whatever, you'd be like, are you insane? It's everything that supported that logo, that brand, that lifestyle, everything that went to that culture is what builds that brand and gets them to where they are. Douche tax is the most important thing. This is a nice little secret. It's a real thing, right? Be nice to your freelancer, your agency. If you're nice, they will throw things in for free. If you're not, they will up their prices purely because of the way you interact with them, because they're going to stop caring about you as a client. So I can tell you this happens. People might say they don't, but it happens. Be critical of the work they're doing for you. Don't be like shy. Be critical and make sure you're 100% happy and you're loving it, but don't be a douche. That's all I can say. Like, everyone wants to make money and do well, but don't be a douche. That's basically it for me. Hope it helps. And all the best. Good luck with going online. If you need any help, we're always around.